Hi, it's Ash Beck. Welcome to BuzzPop. We're here in Hermosa Beach at Mike's Guitar Parlor in the Foundation Room. Amazing place. Today's guest is Scott Page.
Yeah, Scott Page here. Some of you know me as the saxophone player from Pink Floyd and played with other bands like Supertramp and Toto and everybody from James Brown to Chuck Berry to Diana Ross. I've had a pretty extensive music career through the years, and a lot of you might know me also as a Web3 evangelist. I'm very much into technology and what's going on right now, and I speak all around the world on tokenomics and real world assets and all the things that are basically coming forward. Yeah, I grew up in Los Angeles. My father was a musician growing up, and he was on a television show called The Lawrence Welk Show. So I grew up on this early television show back in the day. Here it used to happen at ABC and in Hollywood there. And yeah, so I love Los Angeles. I've been touring around the world, been around about a half a dozen times, and I got to tell you, there's nothing like coming back home. There's nothing like California and Los Angeles that, it's just it's a one of a kind place, and I'm always very thankful when I get back here, and it feels great. As a kid, I used to remember I wanted to do three things in my life. I wanted to do music, I wanted to do business, and then the last thing I wanted to do was documentary, which is kind of the phase of my life right now with some of the projects that I'm working on. Today, currently, I still travel, tour quite a bit, play around. I'm actually on my way next week to Venice, Italy, and to play some gigs there, and also for the F1 in Monaco, and then I'm going to Cannes for the Cannes Film Festival, so I do a lot of playing. But what I've really focused on these days is everything that's going on in Web3, everything from AI to all the blockchain tokens. I speak on tokenomics and this new technology is pretty much all over the world these days. And I've really been trying to work where I'm blending my music career along with new technologies. And I love that because I love the art of business and I love the art of making art. And so I try to really blend those two together. One of the projects that I'm really excited about, I was lucky enough to be one of 222 artists to put their works on this special hard drive that was designed to last 1 billion years. It's not just putting digital files, they're actually etched. And this went up on a Falcon 9 rocket, Elon Musk SpaceX rocket, and was the part of the Odysseus lunar lander. And it landed on the moon on February 22nd, 2024. So I'm so excited. I actually put 7,000 digital twins. I put my entire life up there, all my Pink Floyd photos. I put all my 150 hours of Pink Floyd video that nobody's ever seen, all my Supertramp photographs, Toto, my meetings with Lady Diane and Charles, my business I had with Quincy Jones called QD7. So compiled all this and I put it together and we put it on the moon, and now I have a project called My Moon EXP, which is all these things I put on the moon, and I just launched the Golden Mullet. And the Golden Mullet you can go look at mymoonexp.com, and you can learn about this piece. It's an interesting piece because it's not just a piece of art, it's actually made up of the 7,000 pieces that I put on the moon. And so it's a new way of thinking of art where we're building, it's actually, the Golden Mullet actually holds IP. And inside of that, there's everything from all the games I did through the years, all the Monty Python stuff that I worked on. I did, one of my claim to fame is I did the world's first interactive cartoon musical along with my partners, George Grayson and Richard Merrick. And we put that together. And that was back in the day in the early 90s. And it was called Toonland, starring Howie Mandel. And that was really what's got me into technology. I really loved what was happening. I was seeing how interactive entertainment. So for the last, sort of 30 years, I've been focused in the interactive entertainment space, is what got me so excited about NFTs and what's going on in this new world of technology where we're about to watch, I believe, the biggest wealth transfer in history because of NFTs, these what are called non-fungible tokens, which is really a technology that authenticates and allows to add to any asset. You can add liquidity and add experiences. You can add rights, roles, and permissions to. So it allows for a whole different way of interacting, and really puts the power back in the hands of the people and artists to control their assets and actually generate revenue. So that's a big area that I'm focused on right now, working on that piece. I also have a couple other projects out right now that I'm also a partner in. One is called Synthtopia, which is, you can go see that at synthopia.world, and that's a complete AI project. It's an NFT project where we've just sold out our 4th collection of 9,000 pieces. It's a circular economy. People are building on top of it. It's really kind of stretching the limits on new ways to generate revenue and create media and allow people to build on top of it. And what's so wonderful about NFTs, besides the fact that they can add, access control, and I can put the rights, roles, I can have people build on it, and then in the smart contract, I can put the splits, so it allows us to create new ways for people to create revenue and build new business models on top of them. That's why I love tokens so much. We're at a point now where the people are about ready to take back the power of the currency. This is a whole new game around decentralized finance. And so we're working on ways to actually build liquidity where we can embed like Bitcoin into assets. So now imagine this. So my golden mullet, let's say I sold that for $1 million, right? I would take $500,000 of those dollars and embed that right into the asset. And in that asset, then that $500,000 goes into a liquidity pool that's generating anywhere from 2.5% to 7% per month. And so it generates revenue. So now we have a new model where I can actually go buy and invest in my entertainment, and that can happen along the way. So we're working on a lot of that right now. We've just launched the DeFi Bank, which is our decentralized liquidity pool business model, which is where we've really created a way to let anybody be able to invest into these liquidity pools with taking a lot of the risk out, because we basically go across 600 different liquidity pools, and we pick the top 25, and the AI is managing this, so your investment's going into the top 25 pools. We don't put much more than 2.5% of your money into it. You can take it in and take it out. So think of the liquidity pools and what we're doing as new forms of like index funds, right? So this allows people to get in, get high yield on it, and we're marrying that with assets. So we're in the middle of building some new crazy cool things for people to allow them to actually take back the power of the currency, be in control of their assets. And those are the things that I'm working on right now. Any questions? Any questions out there? Anybody got any questions? Yeah, so I've been around technology. Like I said, back in 1990, we did the world's first interactive cartoon musical. And that was back in the day when we were having to run on a 386 25 megahertz machine with 4 mega RAM. Pretty slow, right? If you think about it, Windows on those machines ate up 2.5 meg. So we had 1.5 meg to make animation happen on the screens, and so we developed all these technologies. From that, I got so excited about interactive entertainment and really the ways of putting sound and picture together, and how we can create new experiences, that whole interactive side of things. And through the years, I'd launched 4 companies. I took one company public, 7th Level. We were a NASDAQ company. And that's where I was able to produce all the Monty Python series, all the Complete Waste of Time, the In Search of the Holy Grail, all these, The Meaning of Life. So when those were all a bunch of #1 games. So I had a real good experience in interactive entertainment. And back in those days, I was actually those were early pioneering days. And one of the things I'm most proud of, I'm in a book called The 50 Pioneers of Multimedia, and I have to be in there with some of my all-time favorite heroes. And so I've got really into the technology side. And from that period of time all the way through the internet, from 2000s and stuff, I was always kind of on the edge. I launched mobile messaging networks and built a lot of technology through those years. And then NFTs crypto came along. So I started really getting involved in the crypto scene, and my first inklings was around 2011. That was early days. I remember the guys coming into one of our men's groups and talking about, we should all buy some Bitcoin at $7, right? I didn't. I wish I had, but that's where I really started getting into it. And then once the next phase, I saw CryptoKitties, which was one of the very first NFT projects come out, I got really intrigued in that and started following it even more. Didn't quite get it at first. I was saying, who would want to buy this little crazy JPEG of a kitty? What, and why would they pay all that money for it? Or like, we hear those things, the Bored Apes. It's like, why would I pay $1 million for a Bored Ape? This JPEG, right? Well, the real reason is it's not so much about the actual asset. It's all the rights, rules, permissions, and it's a distributed brand. So I try to explain to people, if you think of Bored Apes, it's 10,000 people that own these unique apes, but they have the rights to use the brand and they can build on top of it. So that's why there's Bored Coffee, Bored Hotels, Bored Water. Everybody's taking that brand and it's a distributed brand. So the beauty is this model is where we're going right now. And I try to explain it in this way. Imagine if Nike built an NFT in the little swoosh, right? You got the little swoosh, and there's a red one, a blue one, a green one. There's 10,000 unique ones, and you own that. And then Nike, because of you owning that NFT, you were able to build on top of it, create a new business on it. So that's the power of where NFTs and distributed brands. So as this brand comes up, it lifts this brand. The Bored Ape shoes come out, and then somebody does shirts, and it keeps blowing the brand up. So it gives the opportunity for basically us, the normal people, to actually own some of these big opportunities. Through those years, I got lucky, and everybody was coming to me and say, "Oh man, you should put your Pink Floyd stuff of NFTs. It's a big thing." The Beeple came out, and Beeple sold for $60 million, this NFT, right? And we all got like, "Whoa, this is crazy." So I ended up working. We did our first NFT, which was with a guy named Ruby Mazer. Ruby Mazer was famous he was the one that designed the Rolling Stones lips, the famous logo. Well, he had the rights to that, the original one. So he was doing a series of paintings, and he was doing an art show in Hawaii that with 12 new paintings. We said, "Hey, Ruby, let's NFT these things," right? So we actually did that, and we had one which was a happy face with the Rolling Stones lips on it, and that sold for $1.1 million. So that got my attention when it came to NFTs. Ruby sat there and cried because he couldn't believe it. He made $800,000 or some ridiculous amount of money on a happy face with a set of Rolling Stone lips on it. So that really got me intrigued in it, and I was really started focusing on it. Once that really came, all of a sudden, I remember it was like, I was laying in bed one night about 4 days, I was trying to go, how does this end? I don't get this NFT thing right. And then all of a sudden it hit me, boom. And I understood the power of it. And it's one of the most powerful technologies out there, I think, for the people. It really represents freedom for the people. Because what you can do is imagine on the building, any building, there's a QR code. You take your phone, you go QR code. Oh, wow, I can buy a portion of this building for $10,000. Chink, $10,000. I now own that building. Didn't have to go through anybody, didn't have to do anything. It just moved that wealth to me that simply. And then I could say, oh, I can go sell that on a secondary market. That whole market concept is what's about to happen. Tokens are about to eat the world like we've never seen before. Everything will get tokenized. Everything. I don't care if you own a hair salon or you've got a jiu-jitsu studio or you're a bar, whatever. NFTs will become part of it because it creates this points, loyalty, rewards, but really the ability to shift ownership and allow people to then take that ownership and sell it off on secondary markets. So for the first time, we have a way to maneuver and move things around and actually create wealth in a whole different way. So I'm very excited about this model. And the other thing that's coming on that's really important to understand is AI. AI is about to change the world. In the next 36 months, we're going to see the biggest change in the history of this planet that we will ever see, as far as quickly and fast. It's about to take over everything. And my question, I tell everybody right now, it's either you adapt or you die. So this is the moment in time that you want to understand this, and I really recommend everybody to jump in, get online. You got YouTube. It's an incredible place to learn. There's everything you need right there. There's a few people I would recommend to get into. Crypto Casey. Look up Crypto Casey on YouTube, one of the great teachers on blockchain and on crypto and on Bitcoin. And if you're not a coin collector yet, you're not into Bitcoin yet, I suggest you go there and find her Bitcoin for Beginners. It's an incredible wealth of information, and start to get into it and start understanding what it is, because we're about to go through this massive change in our whole financial systems, which is going to tie to a whole bunch of different opportunities for us and for businesses. So this is the moment in time that we have never had an opportunity like this, where we get to actually own the networks and be part of this rise. But we must get educated. You must get out there and learn, and be careful, because there are a lot of scams in this game, and you've got to be very careful that you know how to basically protect your assets, make sure you have the right types of hard wallets, you know what you're doing. You never give out your seed phrase, which is your private keys. Do not give out your private keys, ever, 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 ever. Doesn't matter who's asking, not. Public key, yes, that's how people send you money. So I'm really excited about what's going on in this what's happening in the new economy, because it really pushes it back to the people and gives us a chance to now participate where we weren't able to participate before. And this is about to be a really fun time. So don't mess up. Get involved. Be part of this whole thing. So people always ask me advice, for artists and musicians, because I always took an approach to music and the art is I love business and I love art. So I make it the art of creation and the art of business, and I try to marry them together. My biggest suggestion to artists right now is to get educated, because we're going into a time where it's not about how broad or how big it is. It's all about building a hive. I always say, if you want to survive, you got to build a hive. That means you build a smaller group of people. That's where we're going. We're grouping. We're going into groups of like-minded people. I always tell this story so that artists understand. I went to an NFT meetup about 4 or 5 years ago, and there was this girl. She's 19 years old. She gets up. She says, I'm a photographer. I'm going to be the greatest photographer on the planet. I get up, I eat, drink, sleep photography every day, and I'm going to be the best, and that's it. And she says, I got into NFTs 9 months ago, and I'm so excited because I live 100% off my NFTs. I pay my house rent, I pay my car payment, and I live 100%. And I was so excited because I cut off a part of the smart contract, which is what an NFT is tied to, for my community center. And I'd already given him 2.5 ETH. And ETH at that time was selling, which is a cryptocurrency, was selling at it was worth $10,000. So that's where the thing went off my head. I said, here's a girl that nobody knows that is a photographer that's living 100% off her NFTs and giving $10,000 to her local community center. That's unheard of. So for me, it was always staying on the edge and always following trying to stay close to the market. So for all the artists out there, I say there's several things that really matter. One, I teach a thing called SPACE. SPACE stands for Story, Plan, Army, Conversion, Education, and I put an extra E / execution. That is the business model for artists. So I'm going to walk this down for the artist. Number one, what I did is I took every gig I could possibly go. A lot of times I would always make sure that I would try to take those gigs where it was I had the best opportunity to meet and build relationships, because it's all about relationships. I remember back in the day, I'd get called, I'd have a gig that paid money, and then I had another gig that didn't pay any money, but the place that I was going to not make any money at was actually more in the community, so I would take those gigs. So always take as many gigs as you can, get out and play live as much as you can, because you'll learn a ton. Second of all, you're a startup, right? You need to think about yourself as a startup. And I always ask every artist, is this a business or is this a hobby? If it's a business, it needs to make money. If it's a hobby, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with hobbies. And if it's a business, you need to think about your fans differently. They're really customers now, right? So we have to take a business approach. So I teach a thing called SPACE. SPACE stands for Story, Plan, Army, Conversion, education/execution. Let me walk you through this. Story. Everything is about story. That is the most important thing. So when I ask an artist, I say, what's your story? Oh, I grew up in San Francisco and I play guitar. I said, nobody cares about that story. That's fine. That's fine for stuff. The story they care about is, what do you stand for? What problem are you solving? And when I ask an artist, I like, what problem am I solving? I get up every day, I smoke fatties, and I write songs. So what do you mean? So it's not that. This is a different world now. We have to basically build ourselves, think of ourselves, artists, as a business. So the story I'm talking about is, first of all, a couple things. What you stand for is much more important than what you sell. That's the key piece. Second of all, classic never dies. You can always look back, and there's things that you can learn from classic that you can actually build into your model. So when I talk about this story and why the story is so important, because once you have that story in place, then what you do is it gives you keywords and phrases now that you can growth hack against. In other words, I can now find, because of technology, I can go find my audience. I can target them. They know exactly what I care about, so I can put myself in front of the right customer or the right fan base that I need to get in front of. Once you have that story, the next thing we go to plan, the P. I recommend everybody, I'm a big lean startup guy, lean startup principles. It's used in Silicon Valley to run your business, to basically build your business. And there's a thing called the lean canvas. The lean canvas is a one-page business plan that is you can get at leanstack.com, leanstack.com. It's a one-page business plan. It's basically 9 questions, and in those 9 questions, you fill it out. What's great about the Lean Canvas is that it's interactive, and the first time you go through it, you got to answer the 9 questions in 20 minutes. And then you start to whittle, right? You start going through the process. And the goal is what's great about Lean Startup and this process, it doesn't only tell you what you're going to do, it tells you what you're not going to do, which is really critical, because we can go boil the ocean. The principles of Lean Startup, of Lean, is this: what is the smallest thing you can do that you can execute on that can give you the biggest bang? Instead of trying to do everything, you funnel in, you focus in on the smallest things that you can put your attention on, that you know that you can execute on. Second premise is, do not spend any money, do not use your resources until you've tested and validated everything. Because once you test and validate and you know that you got strong market signal buy, that's when you put your money on, because you don't want to run out your resources, right? So there's a test and validating process. And other big one is fail fast. And what I mean by that is, if your idea is not working, don't try to keep it going forever at all. No, people are going to love this. It's going to be happening. I know. If it's not strong, you fail fast so you can pivot yourself really quickly to change your direction, right? So Lean Startup, Lean Canvas, go in there, because then the story, again, feeds everything. It tells you everything. Now, after you've gone through the Lean Canvas and you've gotten this thing planned together, then it's the A, is the Army. And what do I mean by the Army? First of all, that's your super fans, right? We're thinking about those people. Your Army is everything. They're the ones that can tell you, you can basically spread the word. And I always recommend influence the influencers first. Right? Influencing influencers first is critical, because you don't want to be talking about yourself. You want other influencers to be talking about you. That's how this thing gets to spread. So you want to figure out who are the most important people around you that might have access to someone else or somebody. If you have a band, maybe, ask the drummer. I said, well, who's in your inner circle? Oh, my dad, he owns a bank. Oh, really? Well, we got a thing we need sponsors, so maybe you can go to him for sponsorship. So really the whole idea is looking at those people, identifying them. And then the super fans, I ask artists all the time, who you got super fans? Yeah, I got people that show up all the time. Do you know what they do? No, I have no idea what they do. So you might find one of them might be a Photoshop wizard. Another one might be a blogger. Another one might be a video editor. Another one might be a website builder. So look for your super fans and get to know these people and learn what they're about, right? That's why that super fan army is so important, and that's your thing. And then what you do, the whole model that I teach is you go small. You don't try to go big, you go small. You build your super fan army, you build a process, a repeatable process, and then you scale. Right? That's very important, because people that try to go out and get everybody, they try to be general, and they try to be, it's very difficult. You're better off to be very targeted, right kind of message, get those people in, figure it out, what you can scale, service those people so they're happy, and then you scale your business. So that's why the army is so important, and your influencers. Those are really important to get the ball rolling. Then when we get to the C, right, conversion. C stands for conversion. If you can't convert, it makes no sense. So there's a process, there's a thing called conversion funnels. And conversion funnels are very well understood now. You can go online, go learn about funnels. Funnels are very important. And the funnel is basically the first time you meet somebody, how do I try to get their email, right? Or their contact, their social media. Then the next part of the funnel is, what do I send to them to start the relationship? And the goal is you're moving them through a funnel of engagement to the point you get them to do what you want them to do, which is maybe sign up to your newsletter or buy your album or whatever you're trying to actually make happen. So learn about conversion funnels. Just go to Google, go in there, type conversion funnels. How do conversion funnels work? Remember, Google, YouTube are your friend. Everything you need to learn right now is all right there. You can go find it. So learn about conversion funnels, learn how to set up those systems so you can have a funnel system. There's all kinds of technology out there that allows you to build funnels and stuff. And then the E is education. So everything I just told you doesn't make any sense if you don't go learn about these things. So you want to go learn about storytelling. You want to go learn about, go through the Lean Startup. I recommend, real quick, by going back to Lean Startup, there's a book called Running Lean. Running Lean. It's by Ash. I'm trying to think of his name. I can't remember offhand. Anyway, Running Lean is a great book. And what's interesting about that book is he uses the book. He took the book and made it number one using the Lean Startup principles. So he actually used the book as an example of how he took it to number one. Great book. It'll teach you a whole bunch of stuff that's going on. There's also a book called Hooked, How to Create Habit-Forming Products. Hooked is an incredible because it uses behavioral science, and there's a little four little wheel that you can look up on, just type in, Hooked, and you'll see the Hooked model. And that's a repeatable process that you want to build around your group. And it's proven, it's known, it works. It's a way to kind of build your business. So that's it, education. And then, listen, at the end of the day, none of this matters if you can't execute. Execution is the name again. Ideas are a dime a dozen. Everybody's got an idea. But that's actually the smallest part of the journey, is the idea. The tough part is executing on it. So to recap, whatever you're going to do, think small. Come up with the smallest thing that you can think of that you can do, that you can execute on. Do not spend your money till you've got a great product market fit through testing and validating your ideas. And once you do that, get that in place, build it around your army, your people, get them involved, bring them on board to help you, because they can help generate your interest around who you're doing. And then you can also reward them now with NFTs. You can build models where they'll buy the NFT and be part of your club. Because remember, NFTs create access and control. There's two things an artist can sell. You can't, as music artists, you can't sell music anywhere. There's no place to sell music. I mean, there's some things that you can do, but there's nowhere to, there's no downloads. You're not buying records or CDs. The game is different now. And that's why I love what's going on with NFTs, because now that's something you can actually sell. But the two things that you can sell is the experience and the lifestyle, right? Those are the two things that bring people in. So you need to start thinking about those things, but build your hive. That's the critical piece. Use these principles to build around it. Learn how to conversion funnels. Treat it as a business, if it's a business, if that's what you want to go do. Get yourself educated. Go online. And the third thing is just execution. You got to go for it. It means you got to get up every day. You got to spend time on your business. It's not just fun and games. Otherwise, you're in the hits business, and that's a very difficult business to be in. at the same time, what I'm talking about, this allows you to start thinking about new ways of building a business moving forward, because maybe you as a musician, you might find that you want to take your music and you want to get into production. So you're going to become more on the production side of the music business. You'll find your space. But first thing is don't feel bad about generating a business and looking at it as a business, as opposed to, like, I get so many artists that say, oh yeah, but they're my fans. I don't want to ask for the money or for them to pay me. No. You have to figure out how to turn them into customers in order to build a business, because when you have the revenue, then you can actually build what you're doing, and then you can do whatever you want to give back and things. So anyway, that's my tier. I really recommend that every artist out there right now, if you're not spending time with AI every day, you're making a big mistake, because AI is coming on so fast right now. It's going to basically take out a whole bunch of things. But those people that learn how to use AI to enhance their storytelling, to enhance their business, to use to help them craft their business, those are the ones that are going to succeed. The ones that say, no, I don't want to have anything to do with it. It's not art. You're going to be done. So I really, the most important thing is to get educated, stay on it. There's a ton of great opportunities, and this is going to be one of the greatest times in history for the independent artist. I believe this is it. So there you go. My 2 cents for you young artists out there. Be unafraid. Go for it, but go to school. Learn how businesses work. Learn where the business is going. Learn how to find something that you can sell, that you care about. And there you go. Build your hive, and then you will survive. So everything I just talked about, there's only one thing that really matters, and it's actually my favorite subject, and which has been probably the most important thing that I've learned through the years to really help my business and my career. And that was consciousness. Consciousness is my favorite subject and really the most important subject out there. I try to explain to people how important this is, because listen, whoever's watching this right now, you're sitting there. As you're watching this, I want you to realize this. The only thing that is real is what you're watching. You're there watching me right now. 5 minutes ago, you might have been watching somebody, but that's an illusion now. You can't touch it, you can't change it, you can't do anything. 5 minutes from now, where are you? You can't touch it, you can't change it. So the only step that matters is the one that you're taking right now. Now, why is this important to what I'm talking about? Because what happens is we get so identified with thought, and we think that that's real, it gets in the way of our business and our ability to be open to what's happening. So the inward journey for your business and for your career and just for life in general is the most important part. I now go into meetings, I have no expectations. I don't care one way or another whether they decide to do it or they're going to do it. It really doesn't matter. It's all about the ride. How am I feeling right now? Am I up? Do I feel good? Then I just won. Doesn't matter where I am. I might be just sitting here like having this conversation with the camera here, doing this thing. So I really recommend that this is one of the most important things you go about. So here I'm going to give you a tip, right? All right. So first thing you want to do is you want to try to figure out how to get out of your head and become more of what we call the watcher. The thinker or the watcher? Right now, we're all about the thinker. We're not really watching, we're thinking, and we're getting up and we're focused on, my email, my stuff, right? Well, I read in this book one time, and it said, as often as you can throughout the day, as often as you can, stop yourself where you are, put all your attention where you are, every cell of your body, and then ask this question: what am I feeling right now? If I'm feeling any anxiety, tension, or fear, and right now I'm sitting in this room with this camera, nothing, and there's no lion chasing me, that's telling me I'm identifying who I am with a thought, not with reality, because reality, this is the only thing I can change. I can reach down, grab my coffee, whatever, but everything else is an illusion. Now, I know that's a hard thing to grasp because you go, oh, wait, I got this, I got that. It doesn't mean there's not other things there. The point is you don't want to be so identified with it that you suffer with things that are happening in your mind, because when you're calm about it and you're not identified with it, it's so much easier to deal with. Because I can tell you, throughout my entire life, it has always worked out. And I don't mean it worked out the way I wanted it to all the time, but it always worked out. And what I found is when it didn't work out, the next thing that happened, I'm like, whew, I'm glad that other thing didn't work out because this thing wouldn't have happened, right? So the reason I'm bringing this up, this is the most important thing. Our job as humans, everybody is one job. We have one job and that's it, to help consciousness unfold, right? So the whole idea is learning about being aware, awareness, right? That's the key. You always hear everybody say, it's awareness. But how do I know I'm aware that I'm aware? That's the puzzle that has to be solved. So all I'm telling you is this will help your career, this will help your business, this will help everything more than you can even imagine, because now you start to look at things from a different point of view. You look at it from a conscious point of view and not a thought point of view. Because remember, your mind is incapable of knowing truth from falsehood. Your mind doesn't know right from wrong. I can prove that. Simple. If their mind was capable of knowing what was true and false and knew right and wrong, there'd be no war. Who would kill anybody or blow up anybody if it was the mind, right? The real thing is that voice that's inside that basically tells you to right or wrong. It suffers because your mind will tell you, do this, you pick, right? So it's all about waking up and being more conscious. So here's that exercise. Every moment you can throughout the day, stop yourself and ask yourself, what am I feeling right now? Any anxiety, tension, or fear tells you you are identified with a thought unless whatever you're fearful of or what's going on is happening to you at that moment. Each time you do that, you actually wake up a little bit, right? And then one day you're going to go, wait a minute, who's watching? Is there two of me? Oh, this is very interesting. And then all of a sudden the narrative starts to flip, where now you're watching your thinking, you're not just the thought. Right? And once you do that, your life will change forever. Everything will change as you start to go into this mode. Because here's the deal. It's all about the ride. The outcome will take care of itself. It doesn't matter. You know, you have a goal. That's where we suffer. You might have a goal like, oh, I'm going to go make this happen. And all of a sudden, you're all happy. And then the goal starts to shift. Oh, the money didn't come in. Things that happen. Oh, I'm not going to reach my goal now. Suffer, suffer, suffer. Pain, right? And that's all because of what's going on in your head. If every step you were taking, you were like, I feel good. How am I feeling? I'm up. This is good. The relationship, the opportunity to talk to people and do these things can be so joyful. And that's where you want to live. And this will be the most important thing I can tell every artist, anybody out there. Once you grasp this concept, your life will change. But it takes a little bit of devotion. You got to want it. You got to get to the point. Now, remember, inside suffering, inside suffering, there's a seed of grace. So once you start looking at fear and suffering, you look at it, it's actually a wake up, right? You embrace it and be thankful for that, because that suffering will then drive you to take a different look at yourself and start to look at things. Listen, the world does not need to be saved. The world is fine. We don't have to go save the world. This planet thing's going to spin forever and ever. I mean, it's going to go. It's already gone billions of years. Now, humans, we may not be here. Really, the whole goal is humanity needs to be saved, not this world. So all we have to do is, if everybody took care of their own space and we took care of our own families, and we made sure the people that we could touch every day, and we spread the idea of waking up and being more aware, everything will go much better. So anyway, I always end every one of my things with this, because I truly believe my job is here to help people to wake up, and I think it's the most important thing we can do. I guarantee you, you'll blink, you'll be 50, and you'll blink, you'll be on your deathbed, and the game will be over. Time is an illusion. Just remember that. Now you're going to say, how is time an illusion? Well, it is, and you'll see what you mean when you wake up when you're 50 years old and you go, oh, I blinked. How did I get here? What happened? How did that happen? So, inward journey, most important thing for your business, for everything, for humanity, for your family, for everyone. Because the more aware you become, the more everybody else thrives off that energy. And you actually become a magnet. People want to be around that, because now everything you look at, it's positive. Even when something that's bad, because it's not really bad, it just is, right? And so when everything's about you, right, about me, but not me from an ego point of view. It's like, oh, look at me, my cars. No, it's about me on how I react to everything, right? It's how I'm going to take it. Oh, I just got pummeled, man. Now, do I turn into a raving lunatic? Do I okay, I learned something from it. I'm going to fix it and take it. So it's all about us learning about who we are, where we're going. So that's my last bit of spiel in this thing, to let everybody know. Take that inward journey. It's a wonderful thing, and it will change your life and make everything so much better. Scott Page signing off. See you later. Goodbye.
Headed west to live out all my dreams.
Hi, this is Ash Beck. Thanks for joining us. Signing off for BuzzPop. We've been in Hermosa Beach, California at Mike's Guitar Parlor with Scott Page.